Patriots tie, Mr. Superintendent. Good. If you guys ready? Sue, you good? You good? All right. I wanted to just hold a press conference today to let everybody know what we're doing about the snowstorm. I think the headline is this is the biggest snowstorm that will hit New Bedford in over a decade. We have Because I've been here long enough, I remember that year in January and February of 2015, in which we had one big snowstorm after another, and it didn't melt because the weather stayed really, really cool for a while. And we have similar conditions right now. Let me talk a little bit about like what we're looking at tomorrow before the snow starts, and that is really cold temperatures, below 10, and with much lower wind chill readings. And then we have snow on starting very early Sunday, starting mid morning on Sunday, and going through Monday morning. So let me talk a little bit about both. Because it is cold, because it will be cold, we're going to have snow that piles up and doesn't melt, and that's significant. And that'll be true right through the rest of the week. So whatever happens on Monday, Sunday, and Monday will stay there. So this is why among other reasons, this is why we're treating it seriously. The National Weather Service and Precision Forecasting, which is the subscription service that the city uses to forecast its storms, are calling together roughly from, at this point, 8 to 13 inches of snow, which is, again, not a huge snowstorm, but a sizable one nonetheless, one that can cause treacherous conditions all on its own. I will hasten to add that there are a couple of circumstances that we have to keep an eye on. The forecasts have been varying greatly over the last several days, and they may change. They may change for the worse. We might end up getting a lot more snow north of here throughout New England. They expect a lot more snow. If that snow line shifts farther to the south, we may be getting similar levels of snow. So that's something to keep in mind. But we know to a high degree of certainty that we're going to get a lot of snow. Secondly, and again, it's not going to melt. So ensuring that the snow is removed effectively shortly after it comes down is really key, because it's whatever falls is going to stay there, and the next snowstorm will pile on top of that, and then we'll have a problem. Those are the conditions that we're looking at. Fortunately, we don't think this is going to be a high wind event, so that itself will lower the possibility of down tree limbs and therefore down power lines. Nevertheless, those always remain a possibility. So I wanted to say how we're attacking it. We're going to be sending out about 120 pieces of equipment, mostly plows, and starting very, very early Sunday morning, that we hope will be able to enable us to get ahead of the storm. We will prepare the roads before that, as we always do with storms, which is to say we'll be out there with salters in the wee hours of Sunday morning. That will be, it's one of the most important things that we do, so that the roadway is softened up. It's not the roadway softened up, but like the surface itself, its ability to adhere snow is diminished. So that'll be happening very early Sunday morning, and then the plows will go out once we reach a plowable level of snow. So about 120 pieces of equipment. There will be, and this is something I really want to emphasize, it's become increasingly difficult to ensure compliance with parking bans. The parking ban will go into effect, and we will repeat this through every medium conceivable, at 2 a.m. on Sunday. So that allows everybody to go out on Saturday night, can have fun, stay out late, and then come home and park their car in the right place, which means in general on the side opposite the fire hydrant on most of our streets. There are some double-sided bans, right? Those are marked across the city, primarily on the main roads, but also in the downtown. That's all double-sided, so don't be parking on the street in those places at all. The parking ban is important because by allowing us more room to push snow aside, we are able to get emergency vehicles where they need to go. You don't want to be the person, you don't want to have a family member to be the person who needs emergency medical assistance and the ambulance can't get there because the snow hasn't been plowed well because people are parked all over the place. So we really want people to comply with the parking ban. It's been tough. We just had this really little snowstorm, relatively little snowstorm just last weekend, and all of somewhere between 4 and 6 inches. And we towed 179 cars and ticketed 120 other cars, 1,200 other cars because people, despite our efforts, didn't see fit to comply with the ban. The ban's not a suggestion. The ban is mandatory. You need to move your car. And there are places listed on our website, lots of parking lots where you can go to move your car, but you got to move your car. We want to make sure people are safe in the city, and the parking ban helps us make people safe. So we will be out in force, ticketing and towing as we did before. But we don't delight in ticketing and towing. We wish there were none. Wish everybody did what they had to do to clear the way for the plows. But we've got to get the plows in. So that's why we do it. We will put out that message, by the way, not only here, and I appreciate everybody's emphasizing that in your reporting, if I could ask you to do that, but also we'll put it out through social media. We will have billboards that say 2 a.m. Sunday mornings, the parking ban. We'll have a robocall. We'll have police going up and down the streets on Saturday night with a bullhorn that says 2 a.m. is the parking ban. So honestly, there really isn't a good excuse not to move your car. Everybody should know about it. So there are things that we are going to announce as closed today. These include so that will close on Sunday or Monday and Monday, as the case may be. Some of these things aren't open on Sunday. So the zoo will be closed Sunday and Monday. Senior centers aren't open on Sunday. They will be closed on Monday. Libraries, again, same thing, closed both days. City offices, I am announcing the city offices will be closed. I emphasize here, and I will emphasize to all of our employees who are not driving plows or are not otherwise out on the snowstorm, that it's not a vacation day. Prepare now to bring stuff home, to log in on Monday, to do your work. It is a work day, and that is our expectation, that we have to do our best to continue to churn the wheels of city government even in the midst of snow. So we need to try to be as productive as possible. Schools, Superintendent Andrew O'Leary is here. He's the guy with the Patriots. The only one wearing the Patriots regalia today. Well done. Don't forget there is that football game. And by the way, our guys on plows and the police and traffic folks who are out and everybody working in the garages, they're going to miss the big game. They will record it. They'll find out somehow, but they're not going to be able to kick back on their couches, unfortunately. So there is a real sacrifice there because a lot of them are Patriots fans. But on the matter of schools, school's not in session on Monday anyway in New Bedford Public Schools. So, because it's a professional development day, so that actually works out pretty well. So no problem there. Our school personnel, again, the custodians and others will be out clearing the sidewalks around schools, the parking lots, readying the buildings for children to come back the next day on Tuesday. As far as our other schools go, the charter schools, the parochial schools, New Bedford Voc, they will make their announcements separately. Trash service, we are going to suspend trash service on Monday. The problem that we find is that when most people put their barrels out the day before in this case is going to be in the middle of a snowstorm, so that could be a problem. When snow plows knock over barrels, the barrels make a mess. We don't want messes to be laid bare after the snow all melts. So we're suspending trash service. Sometimes people don't hear that announcement. We will emphasize that as well. So don't put your barrels out on Sunday. And for the rest of the city, just treat it like it's a Monday holiday. Everyone, trash collection is pushed off a day. So in other words, if you're in Ward 1 and your trash is ordinarily picked up on Monday, it'll be picked up on Tuesday. If you're in Ward 2 and it's on Tuesday, it'll be picked up on Wednesday and so forth. So just keep that in mind. Let me talk about sheltering. So we are not going to open up an emergency shelter as yet. We'll be ready to do that. Our designated emergency shelter is at Keith Middle School. We will open up that as necessary, if necessary. It's unlikely. It's unlikely because we're not anticipating major blackouts. I hope I'm not wrong about that. If I am wrong about that in that prediction, then we'll go ahead and open it up and we'll see to it. We are opening up, there will be open, a cold weather warming center at PACA on Coggeshall Street. This is for people who are out on the street. And that'll open at 4 p.m. on Saturday. So that is a warming shelter. So it's not a permanent thing. That's just to get people out of the cold. If you see somebody out there who looks unattended, is out in the cold, call the non-emergency police line, or you can even call 911, right? I mean, it's not cheap, no big deal, right? It's just we want to get people off. So let a police officer talk to that person to get them in a cruiser and get that person over to the warming center. We don't want people freezing to death, obviously, out in the cold. So just you can do your part by flagging these people. We'll have, for those who want it, sand and salt available at 3 locations: Liberty and Smith Street, the Brookline Senior Center, and the parking lot across from the Dennison Center on South First Street. This stuff's all on the website if you want to look it up there. Here's the last thing I'll say, then I'll open it up for questions. But so what can people do to be helpful? Well, the answer is there's a lot. There's always a lot. But first thing, again, comply with the parking ban, period. And again, the website has lots of suggestions about where you can park your car off the street. If you see a downed power line, and again, it doesn't look like a big wind event, call 911. And on the matter of wind, people will inevitably ask about the port in New Bedford because it's a very busy place. It's unlikely that the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be closing the barrier gate because we're not seeing a lot of wind. We're seeing astronomically low tides. The Army Corps closes it. The rule of thumb is when the water level reaches 4 feet above mean high tide. That's not likely to happen. I suspect most of the fishing vessels and other vessels that call on the port of New Bedford are coming in. But in any case, it's not one of these storms where we close the barrier gates and the castle is not, nobody's let into the castle. That should not be a problem, knock on wood. In general, people should stay home. You've got a really big game to watch. Go ahead and watch the game. Have fun with that, but don't, the big watch parties, I would discourage them. Watch them on TV. You can talk to your friends about the game and yell at the referees and all that stuff on the phone if you want. Private contractors, we're probably not going to be using many of them for this event. I note that. There are things to shovel, so shovel your sidewalk. It's the responsibility of every property owner to shovel the sidewalk before them, and that is, it just helps out people, especially along routes where we know children walk to school, especially around New Bedford High and Keith, Keith Middle School, where there's a lot of walkers. Shovel out hydrants. That's a big help to the fire department and locating the hydrants and freeing them up so that in an emergency they're not breaking ice off of them. And look out for your neighbors, especially the elderly. Every year there's somebody who has a cardiac event with a big snow. Every time there's a big snowstorm. We haven't been getting many big snowstorms. But when there are people who go out there and have heart issues. We don't want people walking out especially men of a certain age, going out and being a hero and shoveling very heavy snow when someone else can be doing it for them. So look out for them. Look out for your neighbors if they have, especially the elderly, if they have heating issues. And just to find ways to pitch in with others. That's always a big help. Shoveling out storm drains, that's a big help for us. So that's it. I want to acknowledge City Council President Ryan Pereira. Appreciate the City Council support in all of these endeavors. We've got before I take a question, I'll just say one more thing. I am very proud of the way that we go about the work here. New Bedford has an unusual model for snow events. It is a hands-on deck, all hands-on deck event. We have lots of people from lots of different departments who get behind plows, who pitch in some way, as opposed to lots of other cities that rely almost exclusively on contractors. We do it more effectively than most cities, I dare say, and we do it more cost effectively as well. All that said, people need to be patient. Snow is a hard thing to manage, especially a big unpredictable snowstorm like this. And so if your street isn't cleaned immediately, they will get to it. Lots of people say this, we get countless calls of people who say, the plow has not come down my street yet. And almost invariably, that's not true. They just haven't laid eyes on it. And we actually track by GPS where the plows are going, can see which streets they go down. And in fact, we hit every single street. If you don't see that, then you can call DPI for sure. But know that it's really important for everybody to be patient. As good as New Bedford is at these kinds of operations, they're difficult, they're complex, more than I ever suspected before I got into this position. And but we will make sure that we get to it, and we all the while prioritize safety. So with that, I'll take questions. Go ahead, bro.
How long can people leave their cars in garages or other kinds of lots without being charged for overstaying?
Well, I guess that's up to the garage operator, right? But that depends, like, on the garage, right? So we have a list of parking lots on the website where people can go. The parking bans don't usually last more than 24 hours, so that's never really been a problem. Anybody else? I think that's more or less it then. So that's what it. Well, so and the last thing is just stay tuned for updates. We'll push out some more information to you guys as things move forward. But that's the lay of the land right now. This isn't a snow catastrophe, but it is a challenging storm. And again, I emphasize this is the biggest one we've had since 2015. So we've had our lucky streak has ended, and so we need to get down to business. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Is there anything you're doing differently now than last time you experienced this in 2015?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. So I think that was a good learning experience. I think we were. I'd say. Well, I'd say a couple of things. So I think we're a little bit better prepared when it comes to the maintenance of vehicles, which is important because when you get a big snowstorm, some vehicles break down, and the breakdowns can be as simple as a broken wiper blade, which can effectively disable a vehicle from plowing, right? That's something. So I think we're a little bit better prepared for that. I think we're better at preparing the storm of the surface. We've gotten more effective at salting and brining and putting down melting agents, and that might sound like a simple thing, but we're pretty methodical about that. I think that's a big help. We're better at forecasting. We didn't have that precision service in 2015, so that's a big thing. I think we're more emphatic about the parking ban now, as we have to be. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge, that there's frankly less compliance than there was back then. And I think honestly, and you'll appreciate this, I think a lot of that has to do with where people get their news. It used to be that, well, we put it in the Standard Times and put it in WBSM and everybody would hear it, and it's no longer the case anymore, right? So we've got a very fractured news environment now, and so not everybody hears that message clearly, and so it's unfortunate that leads to more ticketing and towing, but again, the reason for that has everything to do with public safety. So I would say those are the biggest differences. All right, I want to thank all the department heads who are here, and I think we're good, but we'll go ahead and we'll push out some more updates when, as the weekend unfolds. All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Stay warm.